Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. Should the Saints pursue DeAndre Hopkins? Now, this isn't just a yes or no answer. It's a lot of factors that's going into it. But before we jump into that, man, 10K subs. 10K subs. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. We finally hit that 10K mark on the road to 15K. Let's talk about DeAndre Hopkins now, man. The Cardinals released him a couple days ago. I've been busy, so I haven't been able to make a video, but now I'm back. And DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Let's talk about his seasons. His seasons obviously started, his career in Houston. Really, really good in Houston, man. All the way from 2013, his rookie season, had 52 catches, 800 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then in his peak, the 2017, 2018, he was going super, super crazy out there. 96 catches, 1,300 yards, 115 catches, 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns. And then he was traded to Arizona, where he started off his first year in Arizona right where he left off, man. Had 115 catches, 1,400 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now, the last 2 seasons in Arizona, it hasn't been the same. Only played 10 games in 2021, 42 catches, 572 yards, 8 touchdowns. And last season only played 9 games, 64 catches, 717 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, you can consider that him falling off, him getting a little older, hitting that 30 year old age mark, or just Arizona being bad, him not playing all the games, some unlucky injuries. I think he got suspended as well. So just depends on how you want to look at that. I'll talk about that a little later. But DeAndre Hopkins is obviously still one of the best receivers in the NFL, and now he's a free agent. Now, his contract with the Texans he signed was 5 years, $81 million. That was a really, really good contract at the time, but the receiver market has been blown open, and it's going to be nowhere near that to sign DeAndre Hopkins at this point. When he was traded to the Cardinals, he did have an extension, added on 2 years, $54 million. That's over $25 million a year. That's $27 million a year. And in just my opinion, I know Mickey Loomis, Kyle Harvey are very, very creative when it comes to the cap, but $27 million a year, definitely going to be outside the Saints price range, especially this late in the offseason, man. It's about to be June. I just don't think they're going to be able to, do that at that price range to get DeAndre Hopkins, if that's what he wants. I have no idea what he wants. It's just been, announced that he's rumored to want a significant amount of money, which, obviously at 30 years old, this might be your last, big contract of your career. I can see it, but also, man, hey, if you don't want to win, you can go get paid. I'm sure somebody has the money to go pay you, and you probably won't have a chance to win, man. It's hard to get the best of both worlds when, I want to get my money and also be on a really, really good team, because he was on a couple, shows and podcasts over the last, couple weeks and months, and he named all the quarterbacks he wanted to, play with. Derek Carr wasn't in that list, but the teams he named won't have real money for you. They give you good opportunity to win, but the money, I don't know about it. He named Justin Herbert. They're not going to have that much money for him. He named the Chiefs with Pat Mahomes. They're not going to have that much money. Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, they won't have that much money. There's a couple other teams he named, and none of these teams are going to be flooding him with $30 million a year offers to play receiver. So he's going to have to pick and choose where, what does he really want to do? Does he want to win? Does he want to get paid? And for me, I don't care which one you choose, man. Go get your money if you want your money. But if you want to win, you got to have to take those things in consideration. You might have to take a pay cut or ego check at the door, because maybe you're not that same guy in 2017, 2018. And if you is, go on the door and prove it, and then maybe you can get a big bag of money after that. Now, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, man. This is why y'all are here. Should he be a Saint? Now, you know my motto already. I've said this numerous times already if you've been following this channel. If you can get better at the position, get better at the position. And this changes nothing for receivers. I know we all like Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed. We all love these guys. But if you can get better, get better. And DeAndre Hopkins is better than every receiver we have on this roster. And I'll repeat it just in case you thought you heard wrong. DeAndre Hopkins is better than every receiver we have on this roster. Michael Thomas, I'm sorry, you haven't played in 2.5 years, man. You just can't. I just can't count on you being that number one guy. When you're out there, it's a toss-up. When them two were at their peak, it was a toss-up. Michael Thomas may have a higher peak, but DeAndre Hopkins did it for longer, over a longer period of time. So it's just no doubt in my mind that DeAndre Hopkins will be the best receiver on this team, like by a lot, by a wide margin. Which means people get knocked down the depth chart, which means Michael Thomas get knocked down the depth chart, which means Chris Olave get knocked down the depth chart, which means Rashid Shaheed will be getting knocked down the depth chart. But you also have to think, Michael Thomas, he's never had a DeAndre Hopkins on the other side of him. Chris Olave being thrust into that number one receiver role, you'll be a number 3. You'll be going against the third best cornerbacks on the roster. That's going to just, have him looking absolutely fantastic out there. Then you have Rashid Shaheed as a fourth guy. Not really a fourth guy because, man, in the NFL, four guys can eat. I've seen it. 4 receivers in the NFL can eat. So, man, yeah, if you think you can get better, and as a coaching staff, as a front office, if you think a receiver is better and it's financially, makes sense, do it. Always get better. I said every time, if you can get better, get better. I don't care what position it is, man. If TJ Watt or Nick Bosa or somebody say, hey, I want to play for the Saints, and you love Cam Jordan, those guys are better than Cam Jordan right now, you have to get better, even though you would like to keep both. But you just always try to get better within reason. Now, you can't just go get better at position and just ruin your cap and do all of these things. But if you have a chance to get better at any position, man, you should always try to get better in the NFL. That's the front office job. You should try to get the best 53 players on your roster that you can. And adding DeAndre Hopkins obviously would add to that. Now, it's some pros and cons to this. It's not just all sunshines and rainbows. I've kind of covered most of the pros already, but I'll go through some more, man. Obviously, the pros, he's a top-tier wide receiver. He's a top-tier wide receiver in the NFL. He's going to demand attention. He's going to demand double teams sometimes. And can you really double team him if he came to this team with Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed? Can you really double team him? With Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams coming out the backfield. Hey, just good luck. Good luck if that's what you're going to do. The receiver room get instantly better. It gets instantly better. Like I said, everybody's going to get knocked down the depth chart at least one spot, and now you're getting better. DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. I don't care who's wide receiver 5, 6, 7. Doesn't even matter. With those 4 guys, you instantly have the best receiving core in the NFL. Bar none. It's not even close, in my opinion, if you get DeAndre Hopkins on this roster. You instantly make the offense more dynamic. Like I said, 4 receivers, 4 top-tier receivers, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Jawan Johnson, Foster Moreau. It is mismatches all over the field. Can you just imagine a lineup of, just go 5 wide receivers wide or 4 receivers wide. You got Hopkins, you got MT, Olave, Rashid, or you could put a tight end out there like Jawan Johnson. You got Alvin Kamara coming out the backfield. You might even run that with a Taysom package and spread everybody out and just be able to run the ball because you can't even stack the box against all those weapons. And now you're running zone read with Taysom and Alvin Kamara, something like that. The sky will be the limit, man. That becomes another pro, Pete Carmichael. Your job becomes much, much easier. Much, much easier, man. You can just call plays for anyone. It's a lot of plays in the NFL that's designed for a specific receiver. You want to move him right here so he can run this route. I think if the Saints had all of these weapons, you don't really have to call plays for specific players. Unless you want to, because everybody can do everything. All these guys can play in the slot on the outside. They all have pretty good speed. They can all get open, get separation. So, man, it would be fantastic to see all these weapons on the field. Now, do I think this will happen? Absolutely not. I don't think it'll happen, man. The Saints aren't this lucky. But Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis have shown they're not scared to go get guys. In free agency, they go get who they want. That's the one thing I will admit, that they have been better under Dennis Allen and Sean Payton. It's going to get guys in free agency, man. Tyrann Mathieu, Moreau, obviously Derek Carr, Jamal Williams, Marcus May. They've went go get guys in free agency that, just Sean Payton didn't want to do. He wanted to keep the guys in-house, keep the guys he already had, built a bond with or whatever he built with them, and he didn't want to upgrade at some positions. Dennis Allen has shown, hey, I want the best guys. Now, the coaching hasn't caught up yet, but the offseason stuff has been really, really good for him. So it's only an upgrade if you get DeAndre Hopkins. Also, red zone threats. Hey, the man has 71 career touchdowns. He is a red zone threat. He is going to score in the red zone. He's going to command attention in the red zone. He's a very, very big receiver. I wouldn't even say he's very, very big, but he plays very, very big, man. He can jump high. He's lethal in that red zone, and you're just going to have to put a lot of attention on him, and if he's there. Also, this is going to help Derek Carr. You just signed a high-priced quarterback. What's the best thing you can do? Get him weapons. And I'm not saying the Saints haven't been doing that, because they've been doing it all season with Jamal Williams, restructuring MT to get him back. So adding A.T. Perry, which I won't say he's a weapon for him right now, getting Foster Moreau for him, but they have been, utilizing their draft picks and their free agency cap space to get him weapons around him. Adding Hopkins would do the same. You want to make your franchise quarterback, a guy that you pay a lot of money to, comfortable, and DeAndre Hopkins will make him comfortable. So also, the last pro, a lot of people won't like to hear it, but it's just true. It's a great backup plan for Michael Thomas. Now, Michael Thomas is your wide receiver 1. When he was healthy, he was the best receiver in the NFL, breaking NFL records left and right. He had a really, really solid 2 seasons, but guess what? He's been injury prone for the last couple seasons, and that just is what it is. Now, let's say MT comes back and goes crazy. He's the MT of old. Would you still be hesitant to give him a contract? That's going to be a thing. What if MT wants to re-up and get paid like he did, pre-injury when he broke the NFL record? Do you do that with his injury history, or do you move on? Or what if he doesn't come back? Like, what if he just gets hurt again? that you got to consider all these things, and now you're going to be looking for a wide receiver one, or you could be hoping Chris Olave, comes into that role. That's why you drafted him first round for that potential to be a number one pick. But having DeAndre Hopkins on the team, let's say MT gets hurt again, knock on wood, we don't want that to happen, obviously. Now you have a number one receiver still on the roster, and it's easy to move forward, easy to navigate the NFL waters with a number one receiver already on the roster. So that'll be a pro. I'm not wishing anything on MT, but it's just a solid backup plan to have if MT doesn't come back the same guy, or if MT comes back hurt. Now it is some cons. It's not a lot of cons, but you can't pretend that it's not going to be any cons. Contract situation, that's probably the biggest glaring con that's going to come out of it. How much money is he going to want? Is he going to break your bank? Is he going to break your flexibility of next season? What if the Saints come out and suck? It's all sunshine and rainbows right now. We got an easy schedule. Everybody's looking up. It's, optimism going around. But guess what? What if we sign him to a big contract and we suck? What if we win 4 games? That's going to hinder us next season for cap. Do you want to start a rebuild, but you have all these high-priced guys? Now you're going to have to move another high-priced guy. You don't want that to happen. So you want some flexibility, within your roster, within your cap space. So that's definitely going to be a concern. Also, man, the wide receiver development. Like I said, Chris Olave coming, into the season right now, he's going to be wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 1, depending on how healthy Michael Thomas is, and Rashid Shaheed, same. He's wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, depending on the health of Michael Thomas and, how fast he's going to be able to play. Now, do you want to take that risk of, slowing the development of those guys down? We know the sophomore slump is real. The Saints have shown it. We have a lot of guys that have that sophomore slump. We got 2 receivers that have really, really solid rookie seasons, and they need to have good sophomore seasons. Obviously, adding DeAndre Hopkins is going to take away targets from them, probably going to take away stats from them, take away playing time from them, so it will slow their development down. But at the end of the day, man, this is a business. You're trying to win games. You're trying to develop as well, but you're trying to win football games. At the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl. DeAndre Hopkins brings that, to the table, but it will be at some cost, not a major cost, because if you win a Super Bowl, then it's at no cost at all, let's be honest. And the last comment is maybe it's just too many cooks in the kitchen. That's a saying I always use in basketball. Sometimes it's just too many cooks in the kitchen, man. With the Saints, like I said, if you have Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, Kendre Miller, Foster Moreau, Jawan Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, you just signed James Washington, A.T. Perry, Traquan Smith. I don't know why I threw him in there with them, but hey, maybe you just have too many guys, too many offensive weapons, and that's just too many cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes you can have too much. It's possible. It's very, very possible. When you start this dream team in football, you just got so many players, so many weapons. Somebody's going to be unhappy by week 4. I can guarantee it. It's a lot of cooks in that kitchen. It's a lot of cooks in that kitchen, and if you don't start off right, if you start off shaky, 1-3, 2-2, a lot of guys are getting upset. The biggest thing to cure people being upset is winning. So if you're winning, that's great. Because sometimes you won't get your stats this game, maybe you'll get your stats the next game. I know one thing: DeAndre Hopkins and then Michael Thomas, they're both gonna want their stats. That's just is what it is. Wide receivers have egos, and they both do. They both have egos. You just have to be able to check that at the door. That's probably going to be another big thing. It's a lot of egos in that room. Chris Olave is a first-round pick. I mean, he's not playing for a contract yet, but trust me, eventually his agent and his agency, they're going to want him to get his numbers because they're going to be wanting him to get, a big deal when his contract is up in, 3 seasons. That's very, very far away from that, but I promise it all is in consideration. Maybe not by Olave, but his team. Hey, going to want him to get on the field. So I'm sure his team doesn't want DeAndre Hopkins to come in. They want him to be the wide receiver 1. So when it's time for him to get that money, he'll be in position to do that. So it's going to be a lot of interesting things the Saints are going to have to consider, if they even consider it. I haven't read anything. I haven't seen anybody's opinion on this. I didn't want to come with no biased opinion or nobody else's opinion to affect mine, which that rarely happens. I can watch people's stuff and still form my own opinion. You probably know that about me at this point. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care if I got to go against the grain. But at the end of the day, man, should the Saints sign DeAndre Hopkins? It's an absolutely hell to the yes. Why not? I mean, why not? We watched Traquan Smith, Kenny Stills, Deontay Hardy, and Marquez Callaway for all these years. God damn it, give me DeAndre Hopkins. And that's all I really got to say. That's all I really got to say on this, man. Hey, like I said, 10K subs, man. That's a round of applause right there. That's a round of applause. Finally at 10K. It's been a long journey, man, a couple years. Didn't think I was going to get here at one point, man. It was kind of moving slow, but everybody that subscribed, I appreciate y'all. That giveaway, I did not forget. It's going to start up next month. I'll probably in June have the details come out on the giveaway. I've already said you have to be subscribed to the channel and in the Discord. If you have those 2 things done, which that's about a total of 200 people. Just be prepared. Just be prepared for the giveaway. I'll have some more information on that soon. And thank y'all for tuning in once again, man. As always, this is the Boo Tragedies, and I'm out.